We also got to hear from Trevor Etienne for the first time since he stepped foot on the University of Florida, had the All-SEC freshman season, and he is now back with the Gators for his sophomore campaign, looking to have one of the best running back duos in the country with Montrell Johnson, who we also have heard from in spring. But it was good to hear from Trevor. Nick, it's always kind of I guess a little bit of a treat for the reporters on the beat when we get to hear from freshmen for the first time, and especially a guy like Trevor, who's just a stud his first year, and he's got an interesting background given his relationship with his brother Travis and kind of their upbringing, and having an NFL running back that he can talk to for advice. And so it was really cool to hear from Trevor. But one of the things that I took away from his interview and hearing him say, which I wrote about during the offseason, you and I both heard, which was that he basically has established himself as like one of the leaders of this team. I mean, I don't think he'll be like one of the 4 team captains per se, but he's up there, man. And like I've now heard Billy say it, I've heard players say it, I've heard program sources say it, and Trevor basically admitted as much in talking to the media this past week, saying, "Hey, man, I got freshmen and young guys coming up to me asking me how foundation phase is going to be and how identity is going to be," and I'm like, "Bro, this is my first time doing this too."
Like that the little Uzi Vert clip. I don't know. I just got here.
Literally.
Yeah.
My man wasn't here in the spring last year and still had the freshman season that he did. So I think it's clear to me that he is going to be one of the premier players of this team. And if they're going to have a successful year, this guy and his counterpart, Montrell, are going to have to go off. And I think that he's primed for it, and I think that they expect him to have it. The first day of spring ball, Nick, when they showed up and they decided as a creative media department that we're going to pick a player to showcase for the first day of spring ball, they could have put the camera on a bunch of people walking into that facility and going into their locker. They picked Trevor Etienne to kind of show him walking into the facility and kind of having his first day. So I think that guy's in for a big year, Nick, in 2023.
Yeah, I think just looking at what I think they need to be, I think they need to run the ball. Listen, I was pounding the desk last year. This team needed to run the ball 60% of the time. I don't know if they got close to that. I think they were close to that. You need to be at that again this year. Like the strength of your team clearly is the two-headed monster of Trell and Etienne. You can add in Cam Carroll and add Trayon Webb into that. Somebody needs to catch some passes. I think they all need to be working on that. The running backs need to be more involved in the passing game, more so than just pass blocking. I think you need to get them involved catching the ball as well. But this is clearly your bread and butter. And this should be a challenge, and a challenge that the offensive line wants to accept. Like, hey, man, we are going to run the football. If you don't want to shove your face mask into a defensive lineman's chest and push him backwards, then you don't need to be on our starting 5. I think Florida's identity needs to be mean. It needs to be running the football until you figure out what you have in Graham Mertz, Jack Miller, Max Brown, or whoever they get in the portal when it opens up again.